But we did cast our Green Protoss play in the bottom right, herO, a couple Open Cups ago, playing against herO Marine. And he actually won that series 2-0, and then I believe he lost against herO Marine last week that we didn't cast. So, A, cool that he faces someone different than herO Marine, but B, kind of need to then see how he'll do against our Blue Terran top left souL. The series I saw him win against herO Marine, and funnily enough, is actually going up on my YouTube today. If you're interested in it, will be uploaded in like 40 minutes or so, and live. The series that he played was like a very aggressive series. Like, he played super aggro, kind of in your face, and it was kind of fun to watch. So I'm hoping for something similar here. To me, this was by far and away going to be the best round of 32 match, because herO just has a low seed, because he doesn't have many ESL points. So makes for good entertainment earlier in the cup than we usually expect it to be. Now, what's going to happen, and what are these builds going to look like? Obviously, just saw herO playing a very standard double Stargate Void a couple times in a row against Fiant. Against souL, I think you got to step it up a little bit and really use builds you really believe in. Probably mix it up a little bit game to game. So we'll see what exactly that may look like here in the near future as a probe comes over. Cybercore drops down on the main base. I'm just going to see the Nexus on the way up as well, so bring that Nexus up, getting that underway. A Marine Orbital and a Natural CC building too. So most notable, just no Reaper to start with, but it's a Marine into a Reaper. That's kind of a little bit fun. Why go Marine Reaper instead of Reaper Marine? I don't know if I really have too much of an answer on that. Hey, Simbre, my man, how you doing? Thank you so much for the 2-year resub. Guess this is still a waste of money for you? Probably, yeah. Thank you for resubbing. No, I appreciate you wasting your money on me. It's, so if there's ever a way to waste money, it's on the Wardy stream. Hope you're doing good, mate. Sure, I'll try to come say hi at some point on Discord if you're around. So yeah, why Marine before Reaper? Well, I guess you don't need the Reaper right away. Maybe just lines up a bit better. Yeah, I mean, you could go Reaper into Marine too. Maybe just want that Marine that little bit earlier. Doesn't feel like the super early Reaper Scout does much. Now Reaper kind of jumps in, and obviously, because it didn't come across the map immediately, herO didn't have anything immediately ready to help deal with it, so it did okay. It didn't get any kills, but forced the probes off the mineral line just a little bit, stopped the manning gas for just a few moments' time. Definitely a couple things that kind of add up and come into play a lot early game, right? You know, disruption of mining in the first 3 minutes is really effective because you're on a low work count to begin with. Now he kills 2 probes, and he might even get this Reaper out alive. Gets 3 and gives up the Reaper. It's a conscious decision. He says, well, I'm gonna give up my Reaper to get this kill, which is not a bad idea. Now, Hellions moving down in toward the natural expansion as well. It's going to be seeing the Hellion getting turned around by a couple of depths. Prism is out, and it's going to be a weird opening. We never actually really started to talk about what herO was up to, but just straight into the Robo. No Twilight or anything, so just a Prism to harass some observers on the way. I'm intrigued to see how quickly a Robo Bay comes from this. He's actually going to go Twilight Council before Robo Bay, so there's going to be a Twilight coming through, as we will set up into some kind of potential tech then. Hellion gets up into the main and goes for the 1 probe kill before it will fall. And here's the Prism with the Stalkers in the main base. The Stalkers in the main is going to be doing pretty well, but the Viking obviously makes this a pretty big problem, and that's a dead Prism. And that's why I was kind of surprised that he was still sticking around, because that Viking was just sat there chunking away at the Prism, and any sort of Prism harass is shut down so heavily by this Viking, because the ability to just constantly hit the Prism from a fairly safe distance just means you're putting a timer on that Prism harassment, where usually it would be kind of an endless thing. Like, it's always difficult to force that Prism back unless you mess up the micro and the Marines get in range, etc., etc. So yeah, the Viking just able to kill the Prism, and that's somewhat disastrous for herO so early on. He goes charge in a Dark Shrine on the follow-up, 3 additional gateways as well. I mean, that's just aggressive. I guess we go DTs, run in, and then if they don't do much, go into Archons and just go for like an Archon charge attack. And basically this is a timing. This is an attack that's designed to deal some serious damage. Let's see, obviously DTs will warp in first. Raven's going to be out soon though from souL. So he'll be fairly well prepared for this with the Raven out. Obviously, if the DTs go different ways, they can still be annoying. Oh, Raven uses the auto turret to get rid of the Observer. Obviously not great to lose your Observer, though. DT Blink now starts, and herO will start at third base as well. This is just so off-meta. Like, to go into the third base off this really has me kind of guessing what the heck the original plan was. Like, was this the plan? Maybe he saw the Raven and was like, DTs won't do much. So let's, you know, not go in with them as soon and, like, set up a third base and stuff. I'll go and Temple Archives with this DT Blink. I mean, it doesn't mean we go. Raven shows up, but there's nothing to actually kill the DTs. A couple Marines go down. The DT on the third base gets scanned, and that does go down pretty quickly, as we will save all 3 DTs in the main. 10 SCVs killed, and herO is able to escape out of there. Recalls the Prism, knowing there's still a Viking on the game, and realizing that obviously it would be a good thing to not lose the Prism to a Viking again. Sets up for that. Good target fire from souL. Target firing the probes, so the Stalkers... This is such a troll. This Stalker has actually just lost him. It's like 10 more probes, because this Stalker warping in was the reason that the other Stalkers got stuck, and if those other Stalkers didn't get stuck, he would have killed that Liberator way sooner. Yeah, I was going to say, good target fire on the probes, because he killed a lot of probes there, instead of just going for the Stalker. And I think herO just really didn't realize it, because he assumed he had it handled. He assumed it was dealt with, because he just sent 2 more Stalkers back. He warped 1 more in, not realizing that he kind of blocked himself and kind of, well, really just undid all the damage that his DTs did. The fact that 1 Liberator does more than the 3 DTs, 4 DTs managed to do, that's very, very bad. As 3 SCVs go down again, and the harassment continues back in this main base. DT is going to go after a little bit of the Marine Marauder as well. Just in that Prism away through the top side. 5 workers going down. On the left side, we find a kill as well. I mean, again, it's just... If he hadn't just lost 15 workers to a Lib, if that had been just 5 workers, imagine where herO is at, as the Vikings just killed the Prism with the DTs in. This game is going wrong for herO for sure. I mean, this is just not it, right? Definitely, everything kind of going in the wrong kind of direction at the moment. So, yeah, souL, everything he does, big tick. Everything herO seems to be doing, big cross. I wonder... Yeah, at this stage, he's only just on Double Forge. He's down on upgrades. Ghost Academy's on the way from souL as well. High Army grabs that Observer. This medevac is going to come around that left-hand side through the bottom. Looking for a little bit of a drop, so looking to put some further pressure on here. Since tower is building, as I wouldn't mind going through. Aiming for the main base. Couple of ghosts on the way out as well. Armory's going to be finishing shortly. Just hit the feedback. Medevac somewhere. Why am I so blind? 2 of them, 1 in the third base, others over here, and that's a probe nightmare. God damn, that was horrible observing. I apologize. It took me, for some reason, like, I heard the feedback, and then I just didn't For some reason, I just lost the medevacs. I thought this one was in the main. It wasn't. Went to the third. This one on the natural. My bad, but nice combo from souL. So these mines got the 9, and the mines in the natural got the extras. This cannon was way too late, so these Widow mines get to go off again. 1 worker, 2 workers, not the worst, but still frustrating. Another observer going down. That's now 4 observers in the game. That's expensive as well. Like, they are not cheap to replace. Storms, though, and souL gets a bit overeager, and the Ghost misses its EMP. Really? We're going to just drop the auto turrets and move through this? I don't know about that. Storms are still a thing, and there's a lot of High Templar and a lot of Storm available. Not sure if I agree with souL's choice there. I mean, that felt like a little bit of a mistake, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. Now, this army of herO, continuing through over the left-hand side, is going to go pushing onwards. High army comes in. Those few Stalkers get turned back around. Everything from souL joining back up in the upper left-hand side, just sitting out on the front of this 4th base. Well, sitting out on the front of the 4th, and we will see what happens now. souL obviously still in a commanding lead, I think. The one thing he was ahead in that now he isn't is upgrades. He didn't start as 2-2 until just now started +2 attacks. So +1/+1 was so far behind from herO. We were talking about 1-1 versus 4 just starting. And now herO is equal on upgrades. So that's something souL really neglected. That's okay if it's a conscious decision and he really believes in that, you know, the investment into the Ghosts and stuff were way better than just going into those upgrades right away, which sometimes in PvP it actually is. But it is something to note, because now in a fight like this one, where before he was going to be slamming through these Stalkers, it's just going to be a little bit more okay for herO, although you can see that the army composition is truly just good enough for souL, and he's kiting out of every single storm right now. This was a really good fight for him, in fact, as he took a good trade out. And really, like I say, avoided those storms masterfully. There wasn't a single storm that was able to sneak onto the Marine Marauder force and really work its way through that AoE damage. hero's going to try and stab through the center, at least that's his idea, but then he gets hit on the right-hand side. He's going to get smacked on the bottom again, because there is going to be this... that came out wrong. I meant smacked on the bottom side of the map, but okay, smacked on the bottom. Apparently we're just getting a bit weird today. He's going to get hit on this bottom side of the map because this bio army's coming back through too, and he has nothing back in position on the 3rd base. One Ghost leading the charge from souL, but didn't lead it for long enough, and then he dropped the EMP on that one High Templar. The 2 in the back didn't have Storms. They're actually going to morph into Archons. Double Widowmine hits an Archon morphing. Doesn't get the kill, but still good damage, and if it goes near a battery, it's just going to instantly drain a battery. Is that Observer number 5 of the game going down? Yes, it is. Well, Colossus is going to boost down now as 4 Liberators are on the way out. Ghost in production. Bio Army wanting to move forward here. Another Storm on the Marauders. Side Templar still trying to come through, and the medevac just about manages to escape away up that right-hand side. Let's see if he comes through. Going to drop down a command center. Medevacs are all loaded up, and souL going to loop this around the bottom of the map. Just going to be seeing a couple tanks getting chased away. Into the main base you go, and load it, and just going to launch an attack. Does deny +2 armor. I mean, that's actually a pretty nice denial, denying that armor upgrades. We do see this going to be a complete shutdown, though. I mean, everything dies, including all 3 medevacs, 1, 2, and 3. souL's really struggling. I mean, Romanticide's meant to be a defensive map, but I don't think souL's meant to have this much trouble trying to break herO. You know, I think he's meant to just not... The thing is that, yes, you're maybe meant to have this much trouble, but you're not meant to put yourself in a position where you're trying this, you know, this hard to do this damage. You're kind of meant to let it chill out a little bit, you know, and just say, oh, wait, it's Romanticide, so I'm just going to back it up and kind of do my own thing, tech up, etc., which he kind of has done. Like I say, maybe forcing the issue in a couple of ways that just aren't really shining for him just yet. Something to be a little worried about, perhaps. Fast forward here, a few probes going down. Liberator harassment has been continuing again. It's one of the things that souL has definitely found a lot of value with so far in this game. He's now killing. I mean, hero's just not been good at moving these probes away more than anything. 12, 13 workers going down. Ghost in the center, dropping the EMPs across the Stalkers and Disruptors. Storms all across that army, though. And now we're going to see the Stalkers blinking through, and the Liberator's in some trouble. I mean, it's a good fight for herO, honestly, and he is going to clean up this last Liberator, too, and get on top of this base. He's losing so many probes back at home. I can't quite get over what's happening to his probe line, and that he hasn't been able to do anything about it. He stormed the units there, but he also stormed his own Stalkers that blinked on top. And he doesn't have the Stalkers to push through, so it's just Colossi. And for herO's problem will just be the fact that he doesn't have the economy at home anymore because of those Liberators doing so much. He doesn't have the economy to really rebuild off of this like souL does, so it looks as though herO will get cleaned up and will probably lose out in this game. He made it very close, but then he also took some fights that were... When souL took some fights that were questionable, herO's also taken some that were questionable. Recalls onto a Lib that nearly kills the Colossus that recalled home. Not very good Liberator management. herO's going to type GG. I actually think he's probably fine because he's only so desperate to attack because he lost so many workers. GG. I don't know why I introed the game so soon. I literally just put a grape in my mouth. I should have finished my grape and then introed the game. Bottom left. Up one map is going to be our blue Terran player, souL. And of course, he's playing against the green Protoss herO in the upper right-hand corner. Excited to see what herO has to show us for a second game here this time around. Alright guys, sorry, just I'm organizing the WardiTV Summer Championship Korean preliminaries, and just again, all of a sudden at 3 AM in the morning for Korea, they have everyone suddenly started replying to me. It's just trying to excuse me, just trying to make sure I take note of what everybody says and if they want to play, what days they want to play and stuff. So if I go a little bit quiet, I'm just sorting that out before I miss their message and screw something up. Especially because our first day of that is on Wednesday, so there's not a lot of time to sort it out and so on, you know? Typical Koreans. I messaged them at like 10 PM, like 9, 10 PM their time. They reply at like 4 AM. Amazing. I mean, hero's here being a degenerate just playing at this time, so why not? SCV, off on a journey down the map, going back home after a bit of early scouting. Hey, what's up, Jalea? Thank you so much for the 4-month resub as well. Adept just kind of chilling at the front at the moment. Just going to be seeing the other Adept coming down as well. Cyclone already producing from souL. There's a couple more Marines just rolling out. These two Adepts going to go on a bit of a journey forward. Two Adepts running up to the top. Trying to get out of there. So there's a couple of Phoenix just going to be hanging around out here as well. It's on a bit of a journey, bit of a patrol. That robo facility comes up in the natural. Just going to be seeing this few Phoenix one to kind of come in as herO. He's going to play Glaives. This is something herO did when we casted him in the Team Liquid Map Contest tournament, and that was really fun. I think, yeah, for me that was actually a really fun, it's a really fun set of games, and he kind of played this very aggressive kind of like Glaives Phoenix style, and it kind of did work, right? Or didn't? I feel like it worked against maybe Bjorn or Kura, and then it didn't work against the other guy. I can't remember which way around it was. But, very aggressive. One of the things you typically want here as souL is a wall-off, but he's not going to have a wall-off because his bunker and stuff's quite far back, so he'll have a Sim City. Adepts don't care so much about a Sim City. It's like a straight-up wall that you want, because you want to block the Adepts from shading on top of you. Once they get on top of you, it's already kind of trouble territory. I mean, this is like an 8-gate all-in against a faster 3cc, then 4 more racks, so it really is the right build choice, I think, from herO. He obviously knows what he's up against, too. He's had Phoenix, he's had Scouting all game long, so he's got to feel good about this, otherwise he would already be turning away from the idea and trying to play into something else, because he's had enough pre-warning to maybe change his plan if necessary. He obviously just doesn't think it's necessary to change his plan, which is fine. I don't think it necessarily is either. But just saying, like, if it was, we would have been able to see it, so... The thing is, as well, when you see these Phoenix as souL, you kind of just assume, yeah, a bit of a macro game. Like, very rarely do you see this all in off the back of Phoenix. So, he has no idea. He does... Oh, he just salvaged the bunker. I was going to say, he's going to build 2 more depots here, and that builds a bit more of a wall, but then he salvages the bunker. And units are moving forward. Stim isn't done, and my friends, this is what we call a disaster, as these Marines actually don't get put right on top of the Adepts, so the Adepts don't go right on top of the Marines. But... yeah, the Phoenix lift up everything else that's meaningful, and they drop back down into Adept fire, and that is just gonna do it. I mean, that was just souL having no idea about what herO was doing. And herO will just come on through nice and easy. Boom, for game 2. Top right-hand side, it's gonna be... oh, a blue Terran player. Got adapted in game number 2. It is souL. Bottom left, my green Protoss. It's herO. Probe guns in, nibbling at that SCV. The probe gets nibbled back. SCV nearly went down though, so it did its job. The probe did its job. It forced another SCV off the line, right? Just trying to be annoying in those early stages. That is a lot of what you want to do here most of the time. SCV gonna go chasing that probe down. Off and away to the side. On the far right, we've got this pylon placed in from herO. It's got that down. Probe getting pushed away by the Marines. Kind of moving forward. herO is going to go and proxy up the Stargate. So he's going to bring the real lane aggression in this final map. Stargate down. Zealot coming across the map. There's the pylon. Here come the batteries. Honestly, it feels like a little while since I've seen a bit of a Void Ray all in. And I know that's probably a weird thing to say, but it has been, you know? It has taken a back seat lately. It feels like Terrans almost start to actually figure it out. And it's one of those builds where if you leave it a little while and then you come back with it, it kind of comes back stronger because players aren't necessarily doing the builds that are as good against it. In this case, souL obviously knows no expansion or anything, so there is a bunker already building on his high ground. Problem with that bunker is it's easily picked off by the Void Ray, right? So that's going to be the issue. Maybe not the first Void Ray, but additional Void Ray is definitely going to have a good time on that. This command center does get to finish and will hide away to the hide away an SCV and pull up to the main base. Again, our first battery is coming through here, and we are readying the first attack. Probably pops and is going to kill the SCV, trying to depower the Stargate. I mean, a heroic effort, but an unsuccessful one, unfortunately. Void Ray, ooh, nearly got the Marine, but it did get in the bunker. What's nice about this bunker is it's further away from the batteries, and so it's going to be more difficult to get the Void Ray back to healing while trying to take it down. So you can kind of maybe even give up this bunker. This is actually kind of interesting because this Void Ray is going to have to fight against some of these Marines here. It doesn't kill Marines super quickly, as we do have our second Void Ray about to come join the fray. And that means you can melt that Cyclone a little bit more quickly. Gonna have to be really careful here as souL not to let that Cyclone get hit by the Voids, especially if they prismatically align, because that's the moment in which the Cyclone really just insta-die. 3 more batteries on the way. 1 on the other side. So he's actually setting up batteries on this side too, so he's got an option of fighting here or kind of here. Like, he just extends the area. You know, he's trying to make a real zone in which he can take engagements rather than just one certain position. Is a third Void Ray the magic number? Because he's got to be waiting for something. He can't just wait forever. This bunker is just going to go down, overpowered easily by the Voids, and they should have cancelled their Prismatic maybe, unless they... Oh, he's going to get this the Cyclone upgrade! Oh, Prismatic alignment's not going to last long enough, and he has to have to pull it back. The Cyclone upgrade survives. That's massive. Because you're building into these Cyclones under the assumption you're going to have Mag Field accelerated, because then it's genuinely really useful. If you don't have that, that's actually pretty bad for you. Yeah, you can see how quickly those Voids actually just die. Yeah, that one actually just went down, even with the battery starting to heal it. So, Debs getting to the back and do distract the Cyclones a bit. Obviously, we're starting to lose a lot of the production here. We have not seen an expansion yet from herO, which is, as he's continues to set up gateways, he's now just sending Adepts in a couple at a time, but I'm not sure if you can just endlessly send Adepts in, because obviously at some point that's going to go badly for you. In this situation, we do get away from the Cyclones, and that Void Ray survives. The SCV is repairing the Cyclones too, though, so whatever the Void Rays do is not permanent damage just yet. Uh-oh, no, Void Ray needs to be really careful. Does get a Cyclone lock on, nearly gets rid of it. It was a bit of a slow response. Uh-oh, the Cyclones are going to maybe be pushed into a corner. herO is going to hard dive for the Cyclones. The Cyclones going through some SimCity. 2 go down. 2 of the Void Rays go down. Sorry, 2 of the Cyclones go down. A third Void Ray falls. herO dove, believing in the ability to kill off those Cyclones. Doesn't quite find it. souL scans across the map, by the way. Wants to make sure this is not an expansion. He needs to know where he is at in this game. And having killed those Void Rays, in a pretty good position is the answer. That's a dead Void Ray again, because 2 Cyclone lock-ons overpower. However, here come the Stalkers. Another Cyclone goes down. Can the Stalkers make a difference now? He's going to get back to this barracks, which he was close to picking off before. SCVs are going to come through and repair it. At which point do we not just start to kill a few of these SCVs? Adepts in the back again, going to pull back. Typically, one of the scarier parts of these fights is when, like, the Void Rays are then joined by, like, Stalkers or something, but because there's no Void Rays anymore, I'm not as worried about the Stalkers as I usually would be for souL. Oh, gets a Cyclone immediately there. That's exactly why you've got to be worried, though, right? That's the exact reason why this can be a big problem, is Stalker gets locked onto, moves away, gets healed, and... I mean, the main thing that's happening right now is you're basically fighting over this factory. The thing is, as long as you're just around here as herO, you're gonna probably be able to kill the siege tank when it comes out, but he's maybe giving souL a bit of space. Moves back. Yeah, siege tank is gonna get a siege up. That's gonna make life much more difficult for these Stalkers, which really need to decide what they're gonna do now. Without blink or anything, it's so difficult for them to, you know, find a way in. Just now he's still warping the Stalkers down over there. He's actually just going to dive for the Siege Tank now. He will get it, actually. The Siege Tank will fall. As CV is pulling into this. That one Void Ray putting in some work. There's a new Cyclone on the way, so not another Siege Tank. A Cyclone. Cyclone has the mobility, perhaps, to stay alive here. Cyclone pops out, takes a shot. SCV's repairing the factory once more. souL has so many SCVs, he can afford to basically have a bunch off the line repairing all of the time. Basically, like, I would just have them hotkeyed as repair duty SCVs. He gets a Cyclone again, and now he's going to put Stalkers in range of the batteries on the low ground. So these low ground batteries are going to put in some work. He's killed off a lot of SCVs, but now the Marines are maybe starting to overpower. The SCVs obviously taking the brunt of the damage was big, and now the Void Ray goes down too, and I don't think hero's going to have enough to make it work. A bit of a massacre of a fight in the center here as this one Stalker at the end tries to survive. I mean, there's not a lot left, but there's a bunker left, and that's obviously the deal breaker. You can't break that bunker now as herO, and that will be the biggest problem of all. Yeah, just this barracks getting away too, extra Marines on the way out. The SCVs plus the Marines, and again, you could afford to give up SCVs because you just had so many of them all this time. He was on like 38 at some point, even though he's only ever been on one base. Tank takes a volley of hits, and now hero's going to try to expand. Was herO in a position where he could have maybe just expanded sooner? Probably could have, but of course, I mean, then the entire game plays out differently anyway, so it's almost a moot point. These Marines get rid of the other battery that they're able to reach. The Stalker gets one more Marine, but the idea of going back up into this main seems somewhat difficult now with this Siege Tank here. And a second one about to be done. We're going to make an Oracle, and I actually really don't mind that because some of these SCVs are kind of low HP because they've been pulled into fights, they've taken damage over time. An Oracle may genuinely be a decent way to just sort of dive in and get some damage done. We're going to build a second. So herO is absolutely looking to deny the natural expansion from getting into place. And from there, he's really hoping to dive in and deal some further damage. souL just builds a third CC as well. Talk about being confident. As these couple of Adepts are going to shade up, trying to slow down the progress of this move to the low ground. Means the tanks hitting that gateway. Another couple of Adepts going to shade on through, going to get up to the high ground here, and Mule's dropping down into the natural as well. A third Oracle, so he really is going for the one-shot potential on SCVs, and I mean, then it comes down to defending at home. You've already lost one gateway, another of your gateways is over here. Third Oracle pops out. Did the medevac see it? I don't think so, and I don't think the Oracle's seen the medevac either, so it's kind of not great on either side. Now what are we waiting for? Are we now just waiting for souL to move out a bit further than these Oracles to strike? Adepts are going to threaten a shade in. Okay, Adepts and Oracles going to go in together. If the Adepts can pull back, maybe he can force the Marines to fight into Oracles and take a fight he can win. He's got one-shot potential on the Marines. Has to stay away from the turret. Is herO doing some good damage here? Like I say, bring these Marines back. The tank is not in range. He drops a fresh Mule into this. That's a wasted Mule completely. There is a third CC off to this side. We are going to recall the Adepts out of there. Good attack. 10 SCVs go down, but here comes the Marine force across the map. The Adepts just recalled home to maybe try and help with this. Adepts on the high ground. One of them stuck behind the gateway. How long has that been there? Has that been there all this time, or was that just a really weird... That would have been a really weird warp in to just now drop, right? Okay, well, 60 supply to 56. hero's got a bit of money. Remember, souL has a third CC, though, and he's going to be able to take a real eco advantage. And hero's just playing with Oracles. He's like basically trying to overwhelm with Oracles, and that's his game plan. Can the Oracles win this game for me? No, I lose. Yes? Well, then they won the game for me, you know. Yes, I win. Oh, it's, I mean, it's a dangerous game that he's playing. Is the Marine count? Ah, there's a Viking out too. Viking's smart, obviously, because Viking is something the Oracles cannot do anything about. You just have to, you know, suck it up and say, well, I'm going to take damage off that Viking consistently if my Oracles are going to try and dive in anywhere. He's making another Oracle as well. He's going to send that one around the right side while these Oracles come into the natural. There is a turret here. He's going to dive for a tank. He doesn't get it. He does now. He loses one Oracle, though. I think an Oracle... Well, I mean, is an Oracle for a tank a trade you're okay with? On either side? I think souL's probably not as happy about that. Like, yes, the Oracles have been scary, but tanks are one of the key features of his army. Uh-oh, suddenly the Cyclone Viking was trying to catch Oracles. It did get a second Oracle kill, but they both went down. So herO grabs those units. Fantastic movement, fantastic positioning from herO. Taking advantage of souL, taking advantage. Work account still in souL's favor, as it should be. Triple CC. The only thing I would say is that obviously souL, if he mules, he is going to mine out this natural very quickly. Then you need to actually take the third base location. Slaves is on the way. I'm not sure if Adepts wouldn't save you in this game. The one way Adepts would be good here would be if the Adepts were able to jump onto like a... I mean, basically you need the tanks to not hit the Adepts. And last time we had like Phoenix, which could have lifted tanks. This time around, there's just not really an answer to tanks outside of just shading on top of the tanks. But you don't want to be on top of the tanks. You want to be on top of the Marines, you know? There's the tech lab going for a reactor. The gateway of herO now goes down. Reactor does get killed. Oracle's completely drained of energy though. And souL gets that third base, but as does herO getting his own third base in position. With Glaives up, we're going to start moving across the map. I feel like he's just going to dive for it, but the defensive position on the third is good because this tank up here is not going to be killed by anything, so that will just be splash damage on the Adepts throughout a fight. And we've even got, I mean, is that just the first Widow Mine? There's 2 Widow Mines, but Widow Mines are not a bad thing to have against Adepts either, so that's something else that could be really cool. As this medevac now moves across, and that's going to cause chaos. Just as herO wants to make something happen here, dives in, will get the first siege tank. Has to be careful of the other one. I mean, the drop in the natural is going completely unanswered, so the probes have to pull away. He's now just going to recall home to deal with it. Oh no, the Widow Mine got burrowed. This is going to cost him a unit though, unfortunately. Now the third base in trouble too, and this is where herO just doesn't have the tech to even keep up with the simple medevac of Marines. He doesn't have Blink, he doesn't have Phoenix or anything. You know, he doesn't have one of the 2 main components of defending against drops at any point of a TVP. And that's because this game was weird, it was wacky, but in the end, it will go to our Polish player souL, because unless herO can pull off something close to a miracle here, he is just not going to have the army to fight. I mean, he's about to have +1 attack. Can that make any difference? It'll be +1 attack against +1 attack. I don't think so. I feel like we're getting to the point where Marauders are up 2. We've got a drop at the main. This time herO's recall will be on cooldown, so he'll not just be able to recall home to defend against this. So he'll be punished for being on the map, and this initiates essentially a base trade, but when was the last time you saw Mass Adept win a base trade? Well, probably doesn't. Widow Mine shot actually dodged, I believe, by the Adept shade. Decent timing there on that, but otherwise we continue through. I mean, 16 workers go down very quickly. We're now just going to have a hold on this front line. Decent force fields, but I mean, the Adepts just don't do enough damage outside of killing Marines and stuff, and the Oracles are trying to help out as well. Some of these Oracles have been heroes doing anything and everything they can. The bunker did fall, and souL is going to continue to lose a lot. His hero's already lost his natural expansion. He is already, I mean, he's going to try and get up this ramp. Widow Mine shot, boom, big connection. These units will not break through the natural, and of course, there's just no cleaning up this army, so hero's fully committed to the attack. GG's, and souL wins 2-1, but what an epic game, and what a really fun overall series. I mean, this game was fantastic, crazy, and a lot of